Welcome to Hollywood Echo. 1990 didn't just release Home Alone. It architected a holiday ritual that engraved itself into global culture. Look past the slapstick and paint cans to the human stories hidden behind the snow. Trajectories splintered, some child stars exited the industry entirely. Others fought for a comeback, while legends bid their final farewells. We are dissecting the radical transformations, silent battles, and tragic losses haunting this cinematic masterpiece. Joe Pesci brought a volatile energy that family comedies rarely survive. He channeled the raw, dangerous intensity of a mob enforcer into a compact, furious cartoon villain. Born 1943 in Newark, New Jersey, he entered the role of Harry Lime at 47, bringing serious accolades to a slapstick gig. Harry Lime looks terrifying on paper, a predator stalking suburban homes during the holidays. Pesci executes a masterclass in tone, twisting genuine menace into comedy without dulling the blade. Those muttered curses and volcanic eruptions transform simple traps into a desperate war between a grown man's dignity and total disaster. Watching a cinema tough guy take icy pratfalls created a contrast that made Harry culturally immortal, authentic enough to feel dangerous, yet ridiculous enough to ensure the audience knows he can't win. By 2026, Pesci is 83 and elusive, yet that gold-toothed growl dominates screens every December. Daniel Stern didn't just play Marv Merchants. He transmuted physical pain into comedic gold. Born 1957 in Bethesda, Maryland, Stern was 33 when he embodied the tall, dim-witted half of the duo. He plays the fool who navigates the world as if inanimate objects hold a personal grudge against him. While Harry calculates and snarls, Marv exists in a state of oblivious chaos. Stern commits so totally that every scream hovers on the edge of horrifying and hysterical. From the nail-in-the-foot shock to the tarantula scream, his facial elasticity elevated the slapstick to legendary status. Stern injects a bizarre innocence into the criminal, a crook confused by his own bad luck. He genuinely can't understand why the universe keeps punching him in the face. Post-Bandits, Stern diversified into directing and sculpture, deliberately stepping away from the relentless Hollywood glare. At 69 in 2026, his performance proves that the most enduring laughs come from pain that looks real. Catherine O'Hara took a standard worried mother trope and converted it into the film's emotional heartbeat. Born 1954 in Toronto, she was 36 when assuming the mantle of Kate McCallister. She navigates the pivot from a chaotic, harried parent to a woman consumed by absolute guilt. It is a masterclass in desperation, bartering for tickets, and trusting strangers to correct a fatal mistake. Every sprint through a terminal radiates the terror of failing the only job that truly counts. By balancing panic with wit, she keeps Kate grounded, rather than letting her drift into melodrama. That final reunion strips away the comedy, leaving only raw, palpable relief. After captivating new generations with later work, she tragically left us on January 30th, 2026, at 71. Rewatching the film now invites a profound ache. The reunion scene hits harder. We aren't just seeing a character return home. We are witnessing the legacy of an artist who defined holiday magic. John Hurd provided the necessary ballast to the film's chaos as Peter McCallister. Born 1945 in Washington, D.C., he was 45 while playing the affluent, overwhelmed patriarch. Hurd avoided flashiness, grounding Peter as a realistic father trying to steer a massive family ship. His steady presence offers a crucial counterpoint to the mother's rising panic. It highlights how differently two parents shoulder the same crisis. Through subtle glances and measured reactions, he conveyed a deep familial bond without needing a monologue. After decades of consistent work, his death in 2017 at 71 marked the end of an era. His absence casts a layer of unexpected tenderness over scenes we have memorized. Watching him step into that ruined living room now feels like a soft memento of mortality. It reminds us that families survive the wreckage, and affection outlives the chaos. Megan McCallister brought the authentic teenage annoyance that every large family recognizes. Hilary Wolf, born 1977 in Chicago, was just 13 when she captured that specific sibling apathy. Megan occupies that specific teenage purgatory, eye-rolling detachment, masking subtle concern, devoid of grand monologues but heavy on attitude. Watch Wolf's performance closely. It is lived in, capturing the precise frequency of a sister who has spent years perfecting the art of pushing buttons. Yet, the most fascinating plot twist belongs to her off-screen trajectory. Wolf bypassed the typical child star burnout narrative entirely, trading Hollywood soundstages for Olympic mats and swapping pretend conflict for the brutal discipline of elite judo. Now 49 in 2026, her cameo in Home Alone serves as a perfect time capsule. She grounds the film, portraying a genuine teenager embedded in a chaotic, recognizable family unit. Before exiting the industry, Angela Goethals delivered the film's most hauntingly ironic insight, a line that essentially predicts the entire plot. You'd be pretty sad if you woke up tomorrow morning and didn't have a family that is not just dialogue. It is the movie's emotional thesis. Born in 1977 in New York, she was 13 while playing Linnie McCallister, balancing sibling annoyance with a layer of authentic worry. She represents every older sibling forced to negotiate territory and patience during the high-stress holiday season. Linnie's frustration lands because the affection beneath it is palpable. When Kevin later feels the weight of isolation, her words return. That throwaway tease transforms into heavy emotional foreshadowing, giving the comedy its necessary stakes. Goethals continued to work, but notice her choice of roles grounded, subtle characters that prioritized craft over celebrity flash. At 49 in 2026, her performance endures because it lacks exaggeration. It remains painfully honest. This everyday tenderness is the secret sauce that prevents the McCallisters from feeling like cartoons. Then there is Michael C. Morana as Jeff McCallister, the brother operating from the periphery, observing the madness with resigned amusement. Also born in 1977 in New York City, the 13-year-old Morana mastered the dry reaction shot, selling the too many people narrative without saying a word. Jeff never fights for screen dominance. That restraint is his superpower. He embodies the survival strategy of a middle child keeping his head down while the family implodes. He simply lets the storm pass overhead. Morana later secured cult status with The Adventures of Pete and Pete before pivoting to technical craft, shaping narratives from behind the lens as an electrician. In 2026, at 49, his presence in the film remains a masterclass in background realism. It is proof that a fictional family only feels true when the minor players treat it like real life. Long before he dominated prestige drama, Kevin Culkin established his chaotic energy as Fuller, the cousin weaponizing soda consumption against family peace. Born in 1982 in New York City, he was just 8 years old when he donned those oversized glasses and that iconic, sly grin. Fuller barely utters a word, yet he steals the frame. Look at the eyes, the quiet satisfaction of a kid who understands the family dynamics better than the parents do. Kieran's evolution from this silent role to acclaimed powerhouse actor adds a layer of retroactive brilliance to these early scenes. Now 44 in 2026, audiences still laugh at the same universal truth. Even future award winners started by stealing scenes with nothing but a smirk and a Pepsi. Robert's Blossom provided the film's necessary gravity as Old Man Marley. He shifts deftly from the neighborhood boogeyman to a lonely grandfather desperate for reconciliation. Born in 1924 in New Haven, Connecticut, he was 66 when he picked up that snow shovel and walked into cinema history. Initially, the camera frames Marley through the lens of childhood fear, silent, looming, and dangerous. But watch how Blossom uses stillness. His gentle eyes gradually reveal him as the story's most human, vulnerable figure. The church scene is pivotal. It pauses the slapstick to let him articulate the film's core themes of regret and forgiveness. Blossom passed in 2011 at 87, but his performance remains the film's deep breath. When Marley reunites with his family, the movie transcends its traps and burglar's premise. It evolves into a meditation on second chances and the quiet courage required to simply show up. John Candy's screen time is minimal, yet he injects a warmth that resonates long after the credits roll. Born in Ontario, 1950, Candy was 40 when he embodied Gus Polinski, the Polka King, offering Kate a lifeline when all else failed. Candy had a unique gift, turning a cameo into a character study. Gus is awkward and chatty, but radiates decency. Against O'Hara's panic, he balances humor with empathy, reminding viewers that salvation often comes from strangers with no agenda. Candy left us in 1994 at just 43. That loss stings because this role captures exactly what made him irreplaceably rare. Big-hearted, sincere, and never mean-spirited. Watching this performance now hits with a bittersweet resonance, proof that minutes of screen time from the right actor can cement a permanent legacy. Larry Hankin wasn't just filling space as a drugstore clerk. That's a common misconception. He embodies Sergeant Larry Balzac, the officer processing Kate's panic with a donut in hand. A masterclass in apathy that delivers the film's sharpest critique of the adult world. Born in 1937 in New York City, Hankin brought authentic East Coast grit to the role. At 53 years old during filming, he utilized impeccable deadpan timing to illustrate how useless authority figures appear when a crisis sounds too absurd to believe. This acts as the narrative anchor. Kevin's peril feels monumental to the audience, while the surrounding infrastructure treats it like administrative clutter, a mere inconvenience rather than a catastrophe. Hankin built a legendary career as one of Hollywood's definitive character actors, infiltrating television and film with a presence audiences subconsciously adore. By 2026, standing at 89 years old, his brief cameo remains a towering example of how precise, small-scale acting secures a place in holiday lore. Buzz McCallister represents more than a bully. He is the universal archetype of the older brother that haunts every youngest child's nightmares. Engineered to be loud, sarcastic, and an obstacle to happiness, he sets the emotional stakes before the burglars even arrive. Devin Rattray, born in 1977 in New York City, was just 13 when he stepped into Buzz's shoes, delivering insults with a rhythmic precision that felt uncomfortably authentic. From hoarding pizza to weaponizing his tarantula, he delights in Kevin's humiliation, grounding the movie in domestic realism. However, Rattray's nuanced performance prevents Buzz from sliding into cartoon villainy. Beneath the bravado lies palpable teenage insecurity and specific Big Brother energy that makes the family dysfunction relatable rather than repelling. Time has transformed Buzz from an antagonist into a strangely nostalgic figure for an entire generation. He represents the sibling rivalry you despised in youth but secretly miss once adulthood silences the chaotic family home. Now, 49 in 2026, Rattray's Buzz remains the comedic anchor who reminds viewers exactly what it felt like to be powerless at the dinner table. As Kevin McCallister, Macaulay Culkin didn't just act. He defined the visual language of childhood for the 1990s, synthesizing defiance and fear. The New York City native, born in 1980, was only 10 when he turned a neglected kid into the ultimate Christmas guardian. Culkin navigates a razor-thin narrative wire here. He balances mouthy mischief with genuine vulnerability, ensuring Kevin never feels cruel, just determined to survive his solitude. The wide-eyed physicality and whispered strategies provide the film's heartbeat, grounding the legendary slapstick in genuine emotion. While the traps created cinematic history, the resulting fame hit Culkin with the force of a blizzard sequels and scrutiny no child should endure. His eventual retreat from Hollywood wasn't a failure but a strategic move to preserve his privacy against a voracious industry. Returning on his own terms, he has since embraced the nostalgia, deploying dry, self-aware humor that reclaims his narrative. Standing at 46 in 2026, Culkin remains the perennial face of December. He serves as a cultural avatar for being small and overlooked, yet possessing the secret capacity to conquer the world when pushed. Over 3 decades later, the adrenaline of the traps and the chill of the snow-covered streets retain their visceral impact. Today, we view these scenes through the lens of reality, acknowledging the complex lives of actors who built careers, left the spotlight, or passed on. If this film represents a return to emotional safety for you, honor that continuity. Revisit the classic, absorb the nuances, and let their performances echo through another holiday season.